Good morning. Let's start the daily current affair discussion. The first topic that we'll take today is India and South Pacific. Key takeaway from Prime Minister Modi's visit to the Pacific region. Fine. Visual of Papua New Guinea. Prime Minister James Marape touching Prime Minister Narendra Modi's feet have been seen as a reflection of India's global status and the significance of its engagement with the Pacific Island countries. And the Forum for the India-Pacific Island Cooperation, PIC, or known as the Pacific Island Cooperation, is a cluster of 13 island nations dotting the southwestern Pacific, the Cook Island, Fiji, Kiribati, the Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Nauru, New Samoa, the Solomon Island, Palau, Papua New Guinea, Tonga, Tuvalu, and Vanuatu. All are the Pacific Island Ocean countries. All these islands are located at the crossroad of the strategical important maritime trade corridors. Until recently, the South Pacific was considered to be under the US influence, managed under the Australia, New Zealand, USA, ANZUS trilateral military alliance. It is called the ANZUS. Okay, Australia, New Zealand, and USA. But with China's growing influence, the region and the increasing focus on the Indo-Pacific, New Delhi's engagement strategy in the region has evolved. So India was not at all very much concerned about the region because it was very close to US and the New Zealand and Australia, so it was left to their domain. But the increasing Chinese closeness with these countries has made India to think of these countries, the island nations, and develop its interaction with the island countries, what India is doing right now. Of the 14 island countries, okay, Pacific island countries, Fiji and the Papua New Guinea are the one with the biggest population and the most heft. India's interaction with the Pacific island country have traditionally focused on its engagement with Fiji and the PNG, Pacific Nation Group, mainly due to the presence of large diaspora, means Indian people. About 37% of Fiji's 8,49,000 population, so by 28 estimation, is of Indian origin, and about 3,000 Indian live in the PNG. Beginning in 1879, how this journey started, how the Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and India, how the relation started. So in 1879, the British rule, Indian indentured laborers was transported to Fiji to work for sugarcane plantation. Some 60,000 Indians were brought to the island between 1879 to 1916. From the early 20th century, Indian traders and others also started arriving in Fiji. Workers' agitation and the effort of the Chief Andrews, a friend of Mahatma Gandhi, who visited Fiji in 1950 and 1917, led to the abolition of the indenture system in 1920. Okay, so Girmatia, as it is called. Okay, so this is popular known the Girmatia system. From 1948 until Fiji independence in 1970, India has a commissioner to look after the interest of the people of Indian origin. The post was upgraded to that of High Commissioner after independence. So even before the country became independent, India post High Commissioner. Okay, India post a person and give him as a commissioner. Okay, who was given the responsibility to look at the interest of this Indian person in that country. And with the independence of Fiji, so that commissioner post was awarded to High Commissioner after independence. Fiji's Prime Minister Ratusar Kamisesi Mara visited India in 1971, and Prime Minister Indira Gandhi visited Fiji in 1981. Following the 1987 coup in Fiji, the High Commission of India and the Indian Cultural Centers were closed on 24th May 1990. They reopened in 1999 and February 2005 respectively. Fiji established the High Commission in New Delhi in January 2004. India-Fiji relations have grown steadily during the past few years due to several ongoing initiatives and bilateral visits from both the sides. The Indian High Commission in the Port Moresby, PNG, opened in April 1996. Diplomatic relations were earlier conducted from Suva, Fiji, and the Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And the PNG opened its resident diplomat mission in New Delhi in October 2006. Okay, India and these Pacific Island countries. During his recent visit to island of the PNG, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has conferred with the highest Papua New Guinea, as it is called PNG stand for Papua New Guinea, so conferred with the highest honor of the Papua New Guinea and Fiji in a rare recognition for a non-resident in the two Pacific Island nations. Papua New Guinea conferred the champion of the Order of the Lugu to Prime Minister Modi for championing the cause of unity of Pacific Island countries and spreading the cause of global South. Very few non-resident of the Papua New Guinea have received this award, including former US President Bill Clinton. Engagement with these 14 Pacific Island countries is part of India's Act East policy. Okay, a major part of the engagement through development assistance under South-South cooperation, mainly in the form of capital capacity building, training, scholarship, granting aid, and loan assistance, and community development projects. An initiative launched under the Act East policy for the PIC in the Forum for Indo-Pacific Islands Cooperation FIPIC. Prime Minister Modi has hosted the first FIPIC summit in Suva in November 2014 during his historic visit to Fiji with participation of all 14 Pacific Island countries. The second such conference, FIPIC summit, was held in Jaipur in 2015, again with all the 14 PIC taking part. In the two summits, India announced a range of initiatives to assist the PIC in tackling challenges faced by the people and for their well-being and development. Prime Minister Modi attended the third FIPIC summit this week, hosted jointly by the Papua New Guinea. According to the officials, the development partnership with the PIC include community development projects such as solar electrification, supply of agricultural equipment, computer and LED bulbs for schools, sewing machines, dialysis machines, portable sawmills, boats and pickup truck vehicles, construction of sea walls and coral farms. Okay, all PIC are vulnerable to climate change and rising sea level. Initiative like the International Solar Alliance and Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure (CDRI), which India is promoting, complement the relationship with the Pacific Island countries. Under the CDRI framework, India, along with Australia, the UK, and small island developing states, launched the infrastructure for resilient island states on the sideline of the COP26 at Glasgow in 2021 at the Glasgow Summit on Climate Change. Apart from a part of this project for solar electrification of the 2,800 houses in the 14 PIC, 70 women solar engineers called the Solar Mamas have been trained. While addressing climate change and the goal of sustainable development, the project also aimed to provide livelihood to women. Other community development projects have included a revamp of the library and school building, renovation of college, and provision of IT infrastructure to educational institutes. India has been providing humanitarian assistance and disaster relief to the PIC from time to time. It assisted various PIC with the supply of COVID-19 vaccine and medical supply during the pandemic. Fine. So India has been providing humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, okay, to the PIC from time to time. It assisted, yes, online classes. ମୁଁ କଥା ହେବି ଆପଣ ସେଠି ଥାଆନ୍ତୁ ୱେଲକମ୍. Okay, so India has been providing humanitarian assistance and disaster relief to the Pacific Island countries from time to time. It assisted various PIC with the supply of COVID-19 vaccines and medical supply during the pandemic. India can become a key player in the Blue Pacific 2050 strategy along with its partners like Australia to boost sustainable growth in the region and help southern Pacific countries meet the developmental goal and tackle climate change. Fine. So, presence of China in the region. China has made forays into the Pacific Island through economic incentives and has sought to boost its security relationship with the island states. The South Pacific region, now witnessing the increasing rivalry between China and the US and its allies, China's increasing presence in the region has unnerved as US and has caused alarm in Australia and New Zealand. China's development support peaked in 2016 in the region, and its loan and grant amount to all foreign aid to the area between 2011 and 2017 surpassing the US 0.3% over the same period. Notably, China trade volume with the 10 PIC, the Cook Island, Fiji, Kiribati, Tonga, PNG, Samoa, the Solomon Island, Vanuatu, Niue and the Micronesia increased more than 30 times from 1992 to 2022. China is the biggest trading partner of the Pacific Island Forum after Australia and New Zealand. So this is how China is spreading its influence, and to counter this, so Prime Minister Modi decided to visit this region to rebuild or to strengthen our relationship with the Pacific Island group. Prime Minister and the Papua New Guinea Marape that India, Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Marape, that India has a role in this country, especially in mobilizing Indian technology and capacities to help the solar energy solution, desalination, modern health facility, and information system capacities. Targeting China, PM Modi said at the FIPIC summit, those whom we consider trustworthy have turned out that they must not standing by our side in times of need. During these challenging times, an old saying has proven true: a friend in need is a friend indeed. PM further added that whatever it was, whether it's a vaccine or essential medicine, or wheat or sugar, India, in line with its capability, has been assisting all partners countries. India respect your priority. It feel proud to be your development partner. Whether it is humanitarian assistance or your developmental need, you can count India as a reliable partner. India's total annual trade with the Pacific Island countries around 300 million, and that it has also been looking to increase investment in the island. The need is to focus on the idea of inclusive economic cooperation with the region as a whole and on exploring complementaries in trade with the individual countries. PM Modi's visit was impactful because of three clear reasons. One is it showed the gain India has made incrementally as a development partner to this strategic geography and managed to establish a reassuring presence in the region in a way that buck diplomacy cannot achieve. Okay. Two, the overwhelming welcome of Prime Minister Modi by the PIC leaders and Morape's reporting of faith India at the voice of the global south is significant. Okay, so to the overwhelming welcome for Prime Minister Modi by the PIC leaders and the Morape's reposing of faith on India at the voice of the global south is significant given that India's G20 presidency is committed to bring a bridge builder in a polarized global order. 3. It underscores how India is increasingly carving its space as an alternative to countries who do not want to get caught in the crossfire of binary choice in the Indo-Pacific. Okay, so the next topic is about the National Human Rights Commission and its recognition by the international body. Okay, so for the second time in a decade, the United Nations recognized Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institution deferred the accreditation of National Human Rights Commission of India, NHRC India, citing objections like political interference in appointment involving the police probe into human rights violence and poor cooperation with civil society. The subcommittee on accreditation to the Global Alliance for National Human Rights Institutions has granted A status of accreditation to NHRC in 2017 after deferring it for 3 years before, the first such instance since NHRC was established in 1993. In 2016, the GANHRI has cited appointment of political representatives, failure in ensuring gender balance and pluralism in the NHRC staff among its reason for the deferment. The GANHRI is responsible for reviewing and accrediting national human rights institutions compliance with the Paris principles every 5 years. As part of its process, the review of this NHRC India was due in March 2023 for its reaccreditation, which has been deferred for a year. The GANHRI, the Global Alliance, letter to the NHRC also cited lack of diversity in staff and leadership and insufficient action to protect marginalized groups as reasons for the deferment of the accreditation. Okay, so as part of this process, the review of the NHRC India was due on March 2023, but it has again been deferred due to the reasons cited by the Global Alliance. This came 2 months after seven Human Rights Watch institutions wrote to GANHRI objecting to National Human Rights Commission India's A rank. They also raised concern regarding the Commission's lack of independence, pluralism, diversity, and accountability that are contrary to the United Nations principle on the status of the national institution, the Paris Principle. What about the Paris Principle? The United Nations Paris Principle, adopted in 1993 by the UN General Assembly, provide the international benchmark against which national human rights institutions can be accredited. What is the benchmark? The Paris Principle set out six main criteria that NHRC are required to meet. These are mandate and competence, autonomy for government, independence guaranteed by statute or constitution, pluralism, adequate resources, adequate power of investigation, and fulfilling these parameters, the country can be given the rating. Without accreditation, NHRC will be not able to represent India at the United Nations Human Rights Council meeting, because under the United Nations there is a United Nations Human Rights Council, and without Okay, so in a unique peer review based accreditation process, the GANHRI ensures individual and national human rights institutions compliance with internationally recognized standards, the Paris Principle to ensure their independence, pluralism, and accountability. Okay, the Paris Principle set out internationally agreed minimum standards. The GANHRI through the subcommittee on accreditation responsible for reviewing and accrediting NHRI in compliance with the Paris principle, and NHRI is reviewed by the subcommittee on accreditation when it applies for initial accreditation. They apply for re-accreditation every 5 years. The circumstances of the national human rights institutions change in any way that may affect its compliance with the Paris principle. So, national human rights institutions that are assessed as complying with the Paris principle are accredited with A status, which those that partially comply are accredited with the B status. India's NHSC got A status of accreditation for the first time in 1999, which is retained in 2006, 2013 and in 2017 after it was deferred for a year. About the National Human Rights Commission, the National Human Rights Commission is a statutory body established under the Protection of Human Rights Act in 1993. But before it was created in an ordinance, but subsequently government passed the act in the parliament and make it a statutory body. Okay. So the commission is the watchdog of human rights in the country. Okay. Its objective is to look into allegations of excesses independently of the government in a manner that could underline the government's commitment to protect human rights. While inquiring into complaints under the Act, the Commission shall have all the powers of a civil court trying a suit under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908. Composition of the NHRC. The Commission is a multi-member body consisting of a chairperson and 5 members. The chairperson should be a retired Chief Justice of India or a judge of the Supreme Court. Members should be a serving or retired Chief Judge of the Supreme Court, as serving or retired Chief Justice of High Court, and 3 persons, out of which at least 1 should be a woman having knowledge of practical experience with respect to human rights. The chairperson and the members are appointed by the President on the recommendation of the 6-member committee consisting of the Prime Minister as its head, the Speaker of Lok Sabha, the Deputy Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, leaders of opposition in both the houses of Parliament, Central Home Minister. The chairperson and the members are appointed for a period of 3 years or till the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. The chairperson and member are eligible for reappointment. Okay, this is the mandate of the National Human Rights Commission. But if the accreditation is not given by the agency, then it will not find its place in the United Nations Human Rights Council meeting. India will unveil 18 new petaflop supercomputer for weather forecasting in 2023. Union Earth Science Ministry Kiran Reju said India will unveil its new 18 petaflop supercomputers for weather forecasting institutions later this year. The new supercomputer is expected to improve weather forecasting at the block level, help weather scientists get better high resolution range of the forecast, predict cyclone with more accuracy and better lead time, the difference between the phenomena being forecast and actually occurring, and provide ocean state forecast including marine water quality forecast. Presently, India has a capacity of forecast with 12 km resolution. The new supercomputer will improve it to 6 km resolution. The aim is to achieve 1 km resolution in forecast. Fine, that means more accurate. So, what are these flop in computing? Flops or floating point operations per second is a commonly used metric to measure the computational performance or processing power and efficiency, especially in the field of high performance computing and artificial intelligence. Okay, so flops are floating point operations per second is a commonly used metric to measure the computational performance, processing power and efficiency, especially in the field of higher performing computing and artificial intelligence. Floating point operations are a certain kind of mathematical calculations using real number with fractional parts. How many flops can a computer achieve? Modern computing systems such as the CPU, central processing unit, the GPU, graphic processing units are designed to perform multiple operations simultaneously using parallel processing techniques. The parallelism significantly increases the number of the flops a system can achieve with a given time frame. Over the years, hardware has become more efficient, exponentially increasing computing powers. For instance, in 1961, the IBM 7030 stretch, consisting of whopping 7.8 million at a time, performed one floating point multiplication every 2.4 microseconds, roughly performing 4,17,000 flops. PlayStation 5 today is listed to have the peak performance of 10.28 TF flop with 10.28 trillion flops. What is a petaflop? Due to the immense computing power of today's computers, the flop metric is most often represented in terms of. Okay, a petaflop is thus equal to 1000 TFLO flop or 1015 flops. Okay, 2008 was the first year when a supercomputer was able to break what was called the petaflop barriers when the IBM Roadrunner shocked the world with an astonishing peak performance of 1.105 petaflop. Currently, the world's fastest computer in terms of petaflop is the Hewlett Packard Enterprise Frontier OLCF5 with the capability to touch a peak performance of 10 1686.65 petaflop. Are the flop the only metric to judge a computer's performance? No, flops is not the only factor determining the performance of a computing system. Memory, bandwidth, latency, and other architectural features also play a significant role. Okay, nonetheless, flop provide a valuable baseline for comparing the computational capability of different systems, especially it tasks where floating points calculation dominate. In India, already using the petaflop computers for weather forecasting, National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting houses Mihir, a 2.8 petaflop supercomputer, while the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, is home to Pratyush, 4 petaflop supercomputer as per the PTI. These were launched in 2018 and will be decommissioned once the new supercomputer is unveiled. This NCMRWF will be allocated 8 flop computing power with the remaining 10 flops going to IITM. The Pune based institute requires higher power as it deals with seasonal weather forecasting, while the National Weather Forecasting Center deals with the medium range forecasting for a period exceeding 3 to 7 days in advance. Fine. Then International Booker Prize. So the time shelter written by the Gorgi Gospodinov and translated to English by the Angela Rodel has won the International Booker Prize 2023. This is the first time a novel originally published. Okay, so the International Booker Prize is given every year to a foreign language book translated to English and published in Britain or Ireland. From 2016 onward, the prize equally recognizes the work of both author and the translator. Novel and collections of short story are both eligible. Last year, the prize went to Gitanjali Sri, A Tomb of Sand, translated to English by the David Rockweiler. So about the Booker Prize, it is distinct from Booker Prize, which is awarded to the best work of fiction written in English and published in the UK and Ireland. Indian writers like Arundhati Roy and Arvind Adiga have won this prize earlier. Fine. Then the period poverty of the tampon tax. Okay, tampon tax. So concerned about the period poverty has fueled campaigns globally calling for the end to the so-called tampon tax. Period poverty describes the struggle many low-income women and girls face while trying to afford menstrual hygienic products. It also refers to the increased economic vulnerability women and girls face due to financial burden posed by the menstrual supplies. So, period poverty does not only affect women and girls in developing country; it also affects women in wealthy industrialized country. It causes girls to stay home for school and work, use unhygienic products, and pushes girls closer towards dangerous coping mechanism. So, in Kenya, some school girls have engaged in transnational sex to pay for the menstrual products. Fine. List of women rights under the women treatment during the menstruation. Right to health. Menstruation stigma prevents women from seeking treatment for menstruation related disorders or pain. Right to education due to school absenteeism and rural educational outcomes. Okay, so they have poor educational outcomes. Right to work absenteeism, though they may refrain the taking certain job and they may be forced to forgo working hours and weeks. Okay, and also wages. So right to non-discrimination of gender ability, gender equality, stigma and norms related to menstruations can reinforce discriminatory practices. Right to water and sanitation during periods. They are also face pure access to safe drinking, safe water and sanitation facilities such as bathing facility. There are private, safe and culturally acceptable. Okay, then the tax. What is it? The tampon tax or period tax means menstrual products being subject to value addition tax or sale tax. But what it is not? It is not a special tax levied directly on feminine hygienic products. Argument for abolishing it: this will end period poverty. It is a basic necessity as female use them for about a week every month for about 30 years. Why do country retain it? VAT is an important source of revenue for the government. In country belonging to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD), VAT revenue represents 6.7% of their GDP in 2020. The global initiative. Since Kenya became the first country to scrap the VAT on sanitary pads, the Thompson in 2004, at least 17 countries have followed suit. Among the least countries to pass law on abolish the Thompson tax are Mexico, Britain, and Namibia. Another 10 countries have designated sanitary products as tax exempt goods and have exempted the tax on imported raw materials used to make them. In 2022, Scotland became the first nation to make Thompson and sanitary pads free and available at designated public places such as the community centers, youth clubs, and pharmacies. In 2017, okay, so in 2017, Government of India imposed 12% tax on sanitary napkins under the new GST regime. This was abolished later to make the item available and cheaper for the common use. Okay. Janaushadhi Subhidha. In 2018, Government of India launched the Janaushadhi Subhidha. It is an OXO biodegradable sanitary napkin complying with the ASTM D6945 biodegradability test standards. OXO biodegradable means a special additive is added to the Subhidha napkin which make it biodegradable when it reacts with the oxygen after its used and discarded. It has been launched under the Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Janaushadhi Parijojana by the Union Department of Pharmaceuticals. The affordable sanitary napkins are available through Janaushadhi Kendra at a minimum price of rupees 1 per pad. The market price of the similar napkin is around 3 to 8 rupees per pad. The ensures Swachha, Swasthya and Subhidha for the underprivileged women. Fine. Then the the biodiversity register. Recently, national campaign for upgrading and verification of the people's biodiversity register was launched in Goa, making a significant step towards documentation and preservation of India's rich biological diversity. That is People's Biodiversity Register. The PBR serves as a comprehensive comprehensive record of various aspects of biodiversity, including the conservation of habitats, preservation of land race, domesticated stock and breeds of animals, microorganisms, and the accumulation of knowledge related to the area's biodiversity. So far, that 2,67,608 that people's biological biodiversity registers have been prepared by Biodiversity Management Committee in different states. There is a plan to set up the PBR in every village across the country under the mission Lifestyle for Environment, which is conceived to conserve the planet Earth through mindful utilization of natural resources and various other actions at individual and community level in the country. Biodiversity Management Committee, as per the Biological Diversity Act 2002, the biological that BMC are accredited for promoting conservation, sustainable use, and documentation of biological diversity by local body across the country. The BMC have been constituted by the local body in the states and union territory and entrusted with preparation of the PBRs in consultation with the local communities. Mission Life, led by India, Mission Life is a global plan of action that aims to save the planet from the disastrous consequences of climate change. Vision, this mission envisions replacing the prevalent use and dispose economy with a circular economy. Objective to promote an environmentally conscious lifestyle that focus on mindful and deliberate utilization instead of mindless and wasteful consumption. Fine. Then this is how. So you have to maintain the biodiversity, because the maintaining biodiversity is the most important thing for the survival of human being in times to come. If we are not protecting the biodiversity, so human race, because all the mass extinction has been started and many species have been extinct. This should be over in few times, right? So coming to the MCQ, so the most significant remedy for India's healthcare system is universal health coverage. UHC. Discuss the benefit of and challenges of implementing universal health coverage in India. Universal health coverage refers to a system where all individuals and community have access to good quality health care. Okay, so universal healthcare can help to address the current health disparities that exist in India, as it could ensure that everyone, regardless of their social status, has access to essential health services. Potential advantage of universal health coverage in India: improve access to health services. USC could ensure that all Indians have access to necessary healthcare services, including preventive care, treatment, and rehabilitation, regardless of the financial status or geographic location. Reduce financial burden. The USC could protect individuals and families from catastrophic healthcare expenses, reducing the financial burden on household and preventing them from falling into poverty due to healthcare cost. Better health outcomes. Access to healthcare services will improve health outcomes and reduce mortality rate by diagnosing and treating illness and disease at an earlier stage. Increased productivity. Improved health outcomes would lead to increased productivity and economic growth, as a healthy workforce is more productive. So normally, good health lead to good productivity. So a healthy lifestyle will definitely help in leading to a better workforce, because okay, so good health lead to a good work culture, and that will definitely promote that a healthy workforce in the country. Increase government accountability. Okay, so accountability. Universal health coverage would increase government accountability in healthcare, and the government would be responsible for ensuring that all citizens have access to essential health services. Fine. So challenges related to universal health coverage in India: lack of adequate funding for healthcare. It is just 1.5% of the GDP, resulting in insufficient infrastructure, staff, and medical supplies in many areas. Unequal distribution of healthcare resources, with an urban area often having better facility and medical staff than rural areas. In rural areas, primary healthcare centers are sort of more than 2,900 doctors, with a shortage of up to 200% over the last 10 years to 27,120. So India, there is always a shortage of doctors, and the doctor patient ratio is a big gap as compared to the global availability or global standard. High out-of-pocket expenses for healthcare. According to government report, around 60% of the health spending are from patient pocket, which can be barrier for people living in poverty or with limited financial resources, because that is called out-of-pocket expenditure. When the people pay for meeting their health expenses, that is called out-of-pocket expenditure. Okay, inadequate health insurance coverage. India has one of the lowest insurance coverage. Government contribution is roughly 32% of, as compared to 84% in UK. Limited access to specialized healthcare, with many people in remote area having to travel long distance to access specialized medical care. Example, tribal area of Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Poor quality of healthcare services, with issues such as understaffing, lack of training, and corruption, leading to low quality care in some areas. Example, doctor density ratio in India is just 1,000 as per WHO report. Limited awareness and education about health and healthcare, with many people in India lacking basic knowledge about health and disease prevention. Universal health coverage is based on the principle that good health is a fundamental human rights and a key component of sustainable development. WHO has identified universal healthcare as a critical target for achieving United Nations Sustainable Development Goal by 2030. Ayushman Bharat mission of the government of India is a positive step in this direction, as well as the Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana. India has already taken several steps like the National Health Policy 2017, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, then Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Yojana. So, recent step incentivize the private sector to open hospital towards universal health coverage. Although government has launched many facility and whatever has been upgraded in the post-pandemic period, but much more need to be done in this particular domain. Come to MCQs. The following statement regarding Jan Aushadhi Subhidha. In 2018, Government of India launched the Jan Aushadhi Subhidha. It has been launched under the Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Parijojana by the Indian Department of Pharmaceuticals. Okay, so for this both 1 and 2 are correct. Then consider the following statement regarding the tampon tax. Tampon tax or period tax means menstrual product being subject to value added tax or sale tax. It is not a special tax levied directly on feminine hygiene product. This tax is compulsory for every country. So here for question number 2, 1 and 2 are correct, but 3 is incorrect. Consider the following statement regarding International Booker Prize. Time Shelters, written by Gorgi Gospodin Dinov, is translated to English by Angela Rodel, has won the International Booker Prize for 2023. The International Booker Prize is given every year to a foreign language book translated into English and published in Britain or Ireland. Gitanjali Sri, Tomb of Sand, translated to English by Desi Rockwell. All the 3 are correct. And Gitanjali Sri get the award last year. Then consider the following statement regarding the Har Shikhar Tiranga mission. It is a unique expedition to host the national flag. Okay, to host the national flag on the highest point of every state of India for the first time. The highest peak under Indian control is Nanda Devi. It is wrong. First is 1 is correct and 2 is incorrect. Consider the following statement with reference to Udan 5.1 scheme. It will allow route where one of the origin of destination location is in a priority area. Airfare cap have been completely removed to make flying in helicopters more affordable for the passengers. Question number 5. So only 1 is correct but 2 is incorrect. Consider the following statement with reference to Airwat PSAI. It is India's largest and fastest AI supercomputing system developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization. So in this case, so only 1 is correct, but it is not developed by DRDO. Okay. So which of the following statements are correct with reference to the People's Biodiversity Registry? It is a service as a comprehensive record of various aspects of biodiversity. So right, there is a plan to set up the biodiversity registry in every village across country under the Mission Life. It is also correct. And then the next is Jasampad Wildlife Sanctuary. It is in Rajasthan. Which one of the following is the best description of the NASWAMS? What was in news recently? It is a group-based air defense system. And which of the following statement regarding the FLUF is computing is correct? FLUF is a floating point operation per second. So it is not correct. Okay. So then it is a commonly used metric to measure the computational performance, processing power, and efficiency. Okay. FLUF metric is most often present in terms of billions. Okay. Okay, so all are, so A is correct, B is correct, C is correct, so nothing is incorrect. So answer will be D, because FLUF is a floating point operation per second. It is commonly used metric to measure the computational performance. FLUF metric is most often represented in terms of billions, giga, trillion, tetra, and quadrillion peta or operation per second. Okay, so all the 3 are correct. So option is which is incorrect. So none is incorrect. This is your daily discussion over. Keep watching daily to update on a very regular basis about the development going on around you and to update yourself. Thank you.